Welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I am Nazish, and tonight's guest brings together two words that rarely sit on the same mic. My guest is Dr. Carlos Sanchez, an interventional cardiologist with over 17 years of experience in complex coronary and structural heart disease interventions. He is a principal investigator in clinical trials, a published voice in cardiovascular science, and founder of the Luke's Med Spa and Calamara, a functional energy brand built on a system based approach to high performance, longevity, and medical health. In tonight's conversation, we are talking about why modern energy is quietly breaking our nervous system and what high stakes medicine has taught Dr. Sanchez about staying calm under pressure, and what it really takes to perform at your best without sacrificing the bodies carrying to you. So, Dr. Sanchez, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here and discuss about topics of wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we proceed ahead, listeners, some statements reflect personal belief and experiences and are presented as individual views, not medical advices. Listeners should consult qualified professional for medical conditions. So, Dr. Sanchez, before we into this big conversation, I want to ask you, you have spent your days inside one of the most high stakes environment in medicine, working on the human heart. That is the world that demands extreme focus, precision, and calm. When did you first realize that the way most people are chasing energy and performance was actually working against the very biology you treat every day?
Well, yeah, and yeah, those are excellent questions, excellent topics. Like you said, Nasish, I really what I do is interventional cardiology. So what I see in people in my everyday practice is patients come and see me for heart disease. I'm subspecialized in interventional cardiology, so I typically see patients who are sick with what we call atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, meaning blockages in the heart vessels. And by the time they come to me, typically it's more of a band-aid approach. We call it secondary prevention. So we treat them with medications because they already have the disease, they already have the condition. If they are having chest pain, tightness, or pressure, what we call angina symptoms, we can do a procedure called heart catheterization and then fix the blocked artery that's causing the angina or the chest pain, or also open the artery that's causing the heart attack, right? So by the time we see patients like this, it's already too late. The problem is already presenting. Yes, we're saving their lives or improving their symptoms, but we're not preventing the disease that came along from years past. Right. And when you think about, okay, what's the really natural history of atherosclerosis, meaning the process where you build up plaque inside your heart vessels. Well, that starts 20, 30, or even 40 years before you show up with a heart attack, right? So when I see all these patients, I help them to a certain extent to help them obviously save their lives if they're having a heart attack. But I'm really not changing much of the history of the disease that they have. And so that led me to get to think more about what we call medicine 3.0. Medicine 3.0 is more of a preventive type wellness medicine that we rarely practice nowadays. And the reason nobody practices is because really the healthcare system right now, it's designed to really just cure or treat conditions that already exist. But nobody's paying you. There's no insurance. There's no coverage. There's no to really to really treat a disease or change the habits that will potentially lead to this disease process. So identifying those risk factors in people early on is what led me to come to this to what we're talking right now.
Absolutely. And that brings so much clarity for anybody who is listening today. Because I think everybody has so many misconceptions about, like energy drinks, supplements, and biohacks. And like from a cardiologist perspective, there are so many misconceptions about it. So what do you think it is all about?
The misconception about, let's say, energy drinks, I think you just the misconception, it comes from the ingredients that are inside the beverage, right? And yes, everything you do, uh, including the good things, when you do it in an excessive manner, they're not good, right? So let's put an example: exercise. Yeah, exercise is excellent for you. But if you overdo excessively exercise, then your body's going to break down, right? So you're going to have also problems. So everything that you do in excess is no good. And that brings the topic of energy drinks, right? Because to begin with, energy drinks by definition have caffeine, right? So let's just say that every source of caffeine and every ingredient is absolutely perfect, is beneficial to people, and there's no side effects. Well, even if you drink over 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, you're going to start having some symptoms of over caffeinated your body. You're going to get the jitters. You're going to get all those symptoms. So that's when you start crossing the line, and what people mistakenly think that it's, well, this is not healthy. Well, it's not healthy because you're drinking more than what you need. And so the recommendations right now from the FDA really to drink caffeine, when you talk about milligrams, is 400 milligrams a day, right? So what is 400 milligrams a day of caffeine? Well, in an energy drink is very easy to quantify because it's spelled. I mean, you go to Celsius, it's going to have 200 milligrams of caffeine, and the same for Red Bulls will have a 106, whatever it is, and they vary, right? But if you think about it, if you take more than two of these beverages, you're already surpassing what the FDA recommends in terms of your caffeine limit, right? In terms of a coffee, a venti, those huge cup of coffees of dark roast from, Starbucks, they do have close to 300 to 400 milligrams, right? A small cup of coffee will have 80 milligrams of caffeine. So just to give you an idea, when you compare, hey, I'm going to, because people talk about coffee, they talk about energy drink, but really, you have to compare, the amount of caffeine that you're ingesting to really say, hey, is it safe or not safe? And that's when you cross the line. And then there's all other ingredients that come with the caffeinated beverages, or the energy drinks, right? And those, some of them are not the healthiest for you, and can have short or long term adverse consequences to the human body.
Absolutely, like I couldn't agree more with you. And I do believe it for a fact that anything in excess is never good. There has to be a balance in everything. It's like if it is too much, it is never good. And like you mentioned, there are going to be jitters, there are going to be other side effects. We do face those things, but we never realize that it is happening because of excess caffeine. It never crosses our mind.
Exactly right. So if you think about it, well, if you take one energy drink a day, y- whatever energy drink you choose to drink for one, I don't think it's going to cause much of a harm. The problem comes when you start overdoing this type of drink, or when you start thinking that you're going to replace this energy drinks with real food. That's when people mistakenly get into trouble, and when some sort of side effects may come in with energy drinks.
Yeah, and talking about this makes me remember I personally cannot have caffeine in the evening, like after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I cannot. Otherwise, it disrupts my sleep. It keeps me up all night. And I have this weird anxiety. Like the things that you're mentioning, I do have them. And I never thought that, and it took me a long time to come to this conclusion that, oh my God, it is happening because of caffeine. And as soon as I stopped it, as soon as I focused, started taking other healthy options, it really calmed me and it really made my sleep so much better.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's why you shouldn't. But the other thing we haven't touched upon that's also in some of the beverages that may be detrimental to your health is sugar, right? Many of these energy drinks have high content in sugar or have artificial sweeteners that may be detrimental to your health, right? Many of these sweeteners have been associated with increase in heart disease, increase in dementia, increase, even cancer, right? Because sugar, what sugar does, even if it's fake sugar, you're really overstimulating your body, and your metabolic rate uh, start thinking that you have to retain, you know, you have to fight that sugar, your insulin goes up, then when your insulin goes up, you increase your weight, you have, so many metabolic side effects that are completely detrimental that may end up in a heart attack, stroke, cancer, or even, dementia. So sugar is a super important part of any drink that you're gonna take. Make sure the sugar that comes with the drink is either from a natural source, and not sucralose or not true sugar. And then if it's real sugar, then how much sugar is in the beverage, because that really, really, can bring a lot of problems to your body. And then the
Absolutely.
bunch of fatigue, burnout, declining performance, and that's what we're talking about. The metabolic effects of all this, it's losing your focus, balance, long-term balance, which can lead to this detrimental health problems.
It does, it does. And sugar is one of those things which are so easily available to us.
Oh
It
yeah,
is it is like everywhere, and you cannot, it does not strike your mind that and there are so many advertisements that tells us, oh my god, this is not the real sugar, you can have it. But at the end of the day, it does impact us as well.
exactly right, exactly right. And so when you think the combination of the bad source of sugar plus excess caffeine, right? Which many energy products will have. They're only pushing your nervous system into overdrive, we call it, right? Overdrive, creating that short-term output that people are looking for, right? You go to work, it's like people just want to like have that really short-term drive or output, but that comes at the expense of long-term health, right? So that's what we're trying to educate people. Whereas what I'm trying to do is with my team is build a new model, and energy driven by physiology and not stress, right? Caffeine, sugar, stress, a lot of stress to your body and to your nervous system.
It does. It does. And I believe the modern nervous system is taking a kind of beating it was never designed for. Like constant input, constant pressure, constant decision. What do you see in your work as a clinician through that led to the lens of Kalamara as the deeper pattern that's actually breaking us?
Yeah, so what I see is that, uh, that caffeine, sugar, and constant input that you mentioned,
Uh-huh.
that you keep the nervous system in a prolonged, fight or flight state, if you will, which is not sustainable at all, right? So you can do this for a short period of time, but that quietly is really eroding your performance and your health. And so, our mission is really to lead the shift towards sustainable energy, right? More rooted in balance, resilience, and how the body really is designed to perform. That's the most important thing, right? People forget about how the body is really designed to perform, and we're all different. But at the same, we're the same. We perform. We have this. We have a heart. We have a liver. We have kidneys. We have, a metabolic. We all have muscle. We have, so we have to learn how our body is designed to perform, to really understand, what we're trying to do is force our body and shift that type of uh, energy type into a more artificial model, which is not right for us.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so true. And there is something sobering in what you just said. We treat fatigue like it's a moral failure or like a discipline problem, when it is often a psychological cry from our body that has never been pushed past its capacity.
Correct, correct. And so that's what we're trying to do in the modern days. Pushing, trying to use energy to push our nervous system. We should find ways to support it, not to push the nervous system, but to support your nervous system, right? And that's where where all this supplements, ingredients, energy drinks, you call it, right? What are you taking? You have to be really aware about your body wellness to make sure you're not trying to push your nervous system outside its comfort zone. You just want to support it, not push it, support it. Because when you start pushing it, like I said, you're going to have good short-term results. Uh, but we're not designed to do that on a long term. Your body's gonna break at some point, and then you're gonna have many other problems that you don't want to deal with in the long term.
Absolutely. And that is such a beautiful way to put it, because we don't really see these things happening with us, but hearing them, we can actually figure out that something that we are talking about in this podcast is actually that is happening. Like we can see those things in us, and then we can, work on it in a required manner.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So you have to be very uh, cognizant of what you're really putting inside your body. You have to really understand what you're drinking. And I know there's so much out there right now, and there's so much misinformation out there right now. But like I was saying, my mission is to try to educate and make sure that people understand that yeah, be careful. I'm not telling people what to do. Okay. But I just want to tell them, like, hey, listen, this can have detrimental effects on you. And not everything you see out there in the market, in social media, and through influencers, it's healthy. And that's kind of part of my mission, and why I'm so devoted to wellness, is into how I can change or impact lives in the long term. So I mean, I'm not just preventing you to have a long-term disease like a heart attack, but I want you to live like really vibrant and have and be full of energy and live this beautiful life. So that's kind of my short and long-term mission. What I'm trying to do with this type of products.
I completely agree with you there. And we actually have to be conscious about what we are doing, because, like you said, misinformation is too much there. Like every step you take, there is a different advertisement. Every internet, anything you open on internet, any social media profile you open, that is so much misinformation. And I'm so glad that we are doing this to prove why, because I am learning so much from it. And I believe my listeners are also benefiting from this.
That's exactly right. We're living in a culture that rewards output but ignores physiology. The
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
you have to remember that. And you cannot outpace your biology forever. That's the number one thing. We're designed in certain ways, and your body has certain ways of functioning. You cannot outpace that with artificial stuff. And
Yeah.
what we're seeing now is the consequence of all that stuff that I just mentioned, right? Chronic overstimulation. And so we need more sustainable models of performance for people to live healthier.
We do, we do. So, maybe that is a founder, professional, or a parent, or just someone trying to keep up. Like they're drinking 3 coffees a day, and they're wired by 9 a.m. and crashing at 3 a.m. And then they're like really badly sleeping. And they tell themselves like they're high performing, but underneath, they know something is off. So, how is this energy crisis actually showing up in their daily life without even, in ways they might even not recognize?
Yeah, well, it's showing up because it becomes a vicious cycle or snowball effects in their life. Like this doesn't start in a very advanced stage that people are in. Some people are in, right? It really started with simple things like, okay, I'm not sleeping very well, or I'm going to sleep 5 hours a day. I'm going to tough it out because I have a job or I have two jobs. I got to do all that stuff. So when you start sleeping 5 or 5 hours a day, thinking you can survive, over time, and again, this is, we can talk about the short-term effects, but what I talk about is when you break down your body, the long-term effects. Then you like all of a sudden you start waking up and you're like, okay, I feel tired. I don't have the same energy. Okay, what is going on? And yeah, there are conditions, disease, perimenopause. We can talk about so many topics here that we make be making you feel that way, but outside that, completely healthy people wakes up and like, I don't have the same energy. I don't know what's going on with me. So okay, so I have to really find a way to understand. They go to the doctor, everything's perfect. You get blood tests, but listen, I'm just I don't have the same energy. Okay, so they start looking alternatives. So they start doing a lot of research, and in the era we live in, you can find solutions to everything very quickly. And so, ooh, okay, one of those is okay, a little extra coffee or a little energy drink. So you start with one. Okay. Oh wow, I felt really good with this energy drink. I now feel more energetic. I can perform, but I'm still sleeping 4 or 5 days a week. Your sleeping, is getting worse, and then you get more tired, more tired, more tired. So you're in more need of more excess energy, and so you now take two, three, or take a couple afternoon energy drinks, and by the time you're at between 3 and 5 energy drinks a day, come the evening time, you completely crash. Your system completely crashes, especially if they're full of sugar, right? But we talk about the caffeine. The caffeine has a very good effect, short-term effect, but then it will make you crash as well. So if you have combined that with sugar will make you feel like really, really groggy, and especially the excess of sugar. And now it comes the night, I need a nap. If you take a nap, then you go and sleep another 3, 4, 5 hours, and you wake up worse, right? And now this is cycles of years. And by the time you realize, by the time you come and realize that you're completely dysfunctional, which is where a lot of people are, all of a sudden it's like, okay, what do I do now? And that's where we are in this world right now. What do I do now? I'm completely functional. I'm not functioning well. Now I'm obese. I have high blood sugar. I have high blood pressure. Now you transition to the real medical problems, right? Which is where you not want to be. So my goal is the opposite. Is like, hey, how do we create something that will support you, right? As we educate to create the right habits, okay, so we're talking about right habits is, hey, sleep anywhere from 7 to 8 hours a day. Protect your sleep. Such an important thing to do in today's world. People don't believe that sleep is something important. Yeah, sleep, lack of sleep can lead to also pretty bad cardiovascular problems over time. So yeah, protect your sleep 7 to 8 hours. Okay, have a routine to eat a low carb, low sugar diet in your life. Do some sort of exercise. If you can mix that with strength training, uh, 3 or 4 times a week, perfect. Uh, and then, eat a high protein diet more so. If you can do those, sound simple things, and then go to bed at the same time and create a sleeping habit, you're going to have very good sustainable energy for many years. And you're going to prevent a lot of medical problems down the road, which is what you want, right? And so if you create those habits, all you need is to support your energy, right? You don't need to find ways to function. You're just supporting it, supporting your body, uh, to 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 give you that energy. And that's where we need to become a little more educated out there and how you do this. And that's kind of the challenge that I'm facing, and many others. I'm not alone fighting this problem. But that's what my mission is as a person, is how you can live a fully energetic, vibrant, happy life.
Right, right. That is so true. And Carlos, this has been such a good conversation because you taught us so many things, like the wisdom that you shared with us. It doesn't come from a textbook. Like you are teaching people something from your experience, from your performances, and you know, and it brings so much peace to us. Like there are the same skills practiced in every different room, and the most high performing humans aren't the ones that who never crash. They are the ones who return to themselves and learn what is good for them at the end.
That's exactly right. And remember, in medicine, where I practice every day and I love practicing medicine, I see the long-term effects of all this we discuss every day. Okay, so I want you and everyone to take a step back for 20 and 30 years, the younger generations, and change what they can to avoid becoming what I see every single day in my clinical practice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carlos, for such a clarifying conversation. And I believe there are going to be listeners who want to learn more about your work, explore the Nukes Meta Spa, and follow more what you're building with Calamara. Where is the best place for them to find you?
Well, they can find me at in social media at Carlos Sanchez, Dr. Carlos Sanchez, on Instagram. If you're interested in the energy drink it's a wellness first energy drink. You can go to drinkcalmara.com. And then you can find all the information and all the ingredients and everything that we discussed today about energy drinks, and what ingredients we have now to try to prevent or avoid many of these problems of the current energy drinks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I will make sure to include your details into the show notes so that people can just scroll down and reach out to you. Thank you so much for being here on this episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, because these are some real conversations that actually teaches us a lot.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for having me on your podcast.
Wonderful. And dear listeners, that was our episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Love. If something in this conversation made you pause, made you rethink the way you have been pushing your body, made you wonder if fatigue you have been ignoring is actually trying to tell you something, to take just as take that just as a sign. Don't start a new protocol tonight. Just start with one honest moment. Put the screen down, take a breath that's no longer that you inhale. Drink a glass of water, sleep 1 hour earlier than you planned to. The small act of respect for your body you live in are the foundation of every kind of energy worth having. Until we meet here again, be kind to your nervous system. It has been carrying you longer than you know. So I'll see you in the next episode.